Je viens de là.
This is where I come from. I come from the depths of silence where madmen have become kings since reason was interned in psychiatry, where art is desecrated when it's feminine, where the dollar civilizes with weapons, and where the weakest are content to drown in the river of their tears. In Goma, a message of strength in the midst of war. In a city scarred by conflict and instability, a young woman speaks up, armed with words rather than weapons. 23-year-old Esther Abumba has chosen slam as her tool, transforming pain and injustice into a message of hope. She's part of a generation that refuses inevitability and through art dreams of a different future.
J'ai choisi le slam.
I chose slam because for me, slam is about more than words. For me and for all the other people who do slam, maybe, slam is direct, it's a movement, it's a tool that enables us to fight every day. Living in a community marked by conflict, slam allows us to express, to heal ourselves personally. So it's a therapy that allows us to heal our wounds, our traumas. But it's also a collective therapy, because when we as slammers share our story with others, we share our points of view with the world. And this also helps heal the people around us. But also, slam is about healing with words. In other words, not using weapons, not using violent communication, not using violence, but using words and making it poetic so that people feel touched.
Bonjour. Merci beaucoup. Pouvez vous asseoir.
When I run sessions at schools, there's always been, I would say, the first impression when you teach young people poetry. And then we say, go and write something and come back so that we can say them out loud. The very first theme these young people write about, often they're 10, 11 or 14 years old, but strangely enough, they've only written about war, conflict, violence against women, and injustice. So I think young people need platforms, they need spaces to express themselves, and above all, need to use a very good weapon to fight injustice. And that's where the role of slam comes into play, breaking down injustice, but through words. Between fire and water,
I'm a survivor.
Between the disgusting tam-tam and the sounds of the djembe,
I'm a survivor.
between contempt and regret,
I'm a survivor.
between the screams and the cries,
I'm a survivor.
between violence and discrimination,
I'm a survivor.
between hatred and economic chaos.
I'm a survivor.
I believe in the power of change through women. I believe that women have this capacity to influence and change the narrative after 30 years of war or during these 30 years of war. The story of the Congolese women, or women in general, which was told to you in a negative way. But it's time for the women who have these powers, who are lucky enough to live in good conditions, to make an effort to rewrite the history of the women of Kivu. Because she must not only be the one who's raped, violated, who's sad, despised and discriminated against, she must also be a woman who rises up, who rebels, who rises from her ashes, who lives her life to the full, without fear, and who has, I'd say, the desire to make an impact on the world, who has the desire to travel, who wants to study, to speak in public, who has the desire to live her life beyond conflict and beyond gender stereotypes.
Formation en slam.
Ever since I was a little girl, I've loved reading and literature too, so sometimes I'd write. So I said to myself that this would be a way for me to speak out, to educate, to raise awareness, but also to fight for my rights and those of my Congolese brothers.